The Sled Island Festival is sliding into its final weekend here in Calgary, and if you're thinking it's just music, think again. Stand-up comic veteran Andy Kindler is coming through town for a show at the Central Library tonight.
I'm very scared to fly in a helicopter because I get motion sickness easily, and that's the only thing that kept me off of SEAL Team 6. Also, I can't swim. That's the only other thing that kept me off of SEAL Team 6. Also, I don't like to go into a building when I don't know what's happening inside, you know? Osama bin Laden's in there? Maybe we should stay out here then.
Andy Kindler performing on The Late Show with David Letterman, where he was a favorite of the show for years. You might also recognize his name from his role as a judge on Last Comic Standing, or Bob's Burgers, or Everybody Loves Raymond. He's also heavily involved in the world of stand-up, widely considered the founding father of the alternative comedy movement that sprung up in the 90s. Lots to talk about here, and we've got Andy Kindler in the studio. Hi, Andy.
Hi, I'm Andy Kindler, and my guest today is Andy Kindler.
It's great.
And one-on-one. Today it's one-on-one. Getting down. Today on Getting Down, comedian Andy Kindler.
Well, you have a podcast of your own, right?
I do have a podcast, and thank you for teeing it up for me. I have a podcast, and it's called Thought Spiral. And we advertise it this way. 2 Jews, 2 microphones, 2 hours. It's just me and my Jewish friend, Josh Elvis Weinstein, and we talk about, sometimes we don't have anything to talk about, and I think the listener knows.
2 hours.
Not always 2 hours, but sometimes 90 minutes. But the thing that's amazing about it, when people say that they listen to it, like on their way home, or it brightens up it's the greatest thing I've ever heard. Like, that's how I listen to podcasts. The reason why I listen to podcasts, though, which I just discovered, is because of OCD. I have OCD. And,
you can fast forward when you don't like the part?
No, it's more like if I wasn't listening to, like, I'm walking and I'm shopping, or I'm walking around the apartment, if I didn't have a podcast on that I was listening to, I would start to worry and obsess.
Oh, and the podcast keeps you focused.
It keeps me, if I'm going to focus on something, at least, and let it not be endless problems you can't solve.
Wow. See, for me, I have to just focus on the grocery shopping. If I was listening to a podcast, I'd be lost.
Now, that's interesting. Now, you don't have OCD.
No.
Okay, so you don't want to multi. You want to. See, to me, it's like there's something boring about everything to me.
Well, thanks for not listening to a podcast right now while we talk.
I am listening to a podcast. It's true crime.
Okay.
It's true crime. Hold on a second. Okay, so it's the Golden State Killer.
Got it. All right. So you know the ending now.
Wait a second. I'm sorry. So, that would be annoying.
So tell me what's coming up in Calgary.
I'm here for the Sled Island Festival, and I'll tell you, I could say it 9 times, 12 times. I could say it 15 times. All I've come up with, I don't know what it means. At first, I thought it was on an island. Now, do you know why it's called Sled Island?
I have no idea.
Well, can we get? I think it's because, do you do a lot of sledding here?
Well, there is sledding, sure, in the wintertime. It's a snowy city. Sure, yes.
Yeah, but that's not something that you would be like, you'd stake your city's claim on. Come on down to Calgary. We love to sled. But was there a famous sled incident here?
Well, I guess, I don't know. I mean, we do actually have...
Someone from the festival?
From the festival here in the studio.
Come on, talk, Evan. Do I have to provide all the entertainment?
Evan helped line this interview up.
Why is it called Sled Island?
So my understanding is that when the founder of the festival was looking for a name, he thought of this place that he saw a sign when he was on a hike or a road trip or something like that said Sled Island on it. And it was just something that stuck with him when he was on a trip.
It's
somewhere.
like there's a band from Edmonton called The Scenic Route to Alaska. Same idea.
Oh, I love that
because
name.
They saw the sign heading up to Alaska.
Let's take the scenic route. I was in a band called Rest Area, 5 miles. I was in a band that said Tim Hortons next exit. Huh? See how I changed it to Canadian content?
Yes, I see what you've done
With your Tim Hortons. So
you've kind of selected a group of stand-up comics you want to be part of this show this weekend, right?
That is, Evan's curating, but I like to think of myself as a curator. And the people that I saw, there was a time period when comedy sucked. In the 80s, I started comedy in the 80s, and they got very hacky in the 90s when all these clubs, they had more clubs in cities than ATM machines. and it got burnt out, and everybody, and all the comedy was like, have you ever noticed, and what's the deal with this, and who's the genius who came up with that, and that's all I do all day, I was thinking this weird stuff. I am amazed at how good the comedy is now. It's so great because people can say they're gay, they can say they're transgendered. All of those walls are broken down. And when I started comedy, people didn't even admit that they were gay.
I mean, you wrote a book about this. You wrote the Hack's Handbook.
I am very impressed.
Well,
are you? Is this something where you do with all the interviews?
Or do a little bit of research?
Yeah,
sure.
Oh, so
yes.
I'd like you to say, Andy, this is a big day for me. When I was a small boy in 1991, I got up one day to have some. What do you have here? Sauerbraten? No, what do you have in here?
Sauerkraut?
Poutine or?
No.
So I had my daily poutine, and I went out and fed the hens, and did my chores. I come back in. And I was tiny because you're a young guy. And what is this? It was a National Lampoon, changed my life, and I wanted to thank you for it. I wrote a Hack's Comics Handbook, how to be a hack comic.
So you were poking fun at the comics at the time.
It was really cool, funny though, because don't ever say that when you're a comic. Here's a funny story. No, I was playing once with a hack, a really terrible. I won't say her name, but she was reading it, so she read it, and she just had like I don't think she thought it was about her, but she just had a very stern look on her face.
Why did you feel it was important to write that book? I mean, you probably didn't gain a lot of friends in the hack side of comics.
No, I definitely did not get a lot of journeyman comics, but it was because a lot of it really got me notoriety in a good way, though, because a lot of my friends would make fun of hack comedy anyway. Back in those days, there was so much hack comedy.
Well, I mean, it's not to say that there weren't people in the 80s and 90s who weren't pushing things, too, right? I mean, why was there this separation between people who were kind of, trying to push comedy a little bit and people who were just following that paint-by-numbers style?
I think what happened was it was really as simple as there was so much work. Really, not enough comedians to fill these clubs. It got so big that a lot of people decided, hey, well, I can do that type of thing. So they got into the field, and then everybody started sounding like Jerry Seinfeld, who was funny, but what's the deal? Who's the genius rocket scientist? And so I started to become incredibly obsessed with hack acts and just bad comedy.
You have for over 20 years now delivered the State of the Industry address in Montreal, where basically you're putting comics under the roaster.
Yes.
So I mean, you've done this with Hack Comics in your book, and now you do this. I've done it for decades at this point with comics in Montreal at the Just for Less Festival every year. How do comics respond when you're just nailing them with material and kind of making fun of what they do?
Yeah, well, it really depends because sometimes the jokes will be more roast-like. I hate confrontation. I'm a short man. I'm a diminutive statured man who's weak. I don't want to get into a fight. But I found that some people have more of a sense of humor about it. Like Carrot Top. I made fun of him, but he has a sense of, some people know that their act is a little too, easy to make fun of. But the guy who, for example, right now, I'm going to talk about it this summer is Jeff Dunham has a special where he's just talking about, how unfair it's been and how politically incorrect, because he can't be politically incorrect. And it's like, he does a character called Ahmed, the dead terrorist. What's wrong with that? The name is Ahmed. It's not Timothy McVeigh, the dead terrorist. But he can't say that. You're saying, it's not like you're saying the terrorist. You're saying these people from this country named Ahmed who are destroying us. So I just thought it was funny that he didn't seem to know why he was terrible.
Is there any truth to that? I mean, is comedy having to be a bit more politically correct these days?
There's truth to the fact that sometimes people will take things out of context or they won't, and also the whole online shaming thing. Like, you have the right as a comic to say anything you want, but then then people have the right not to like it.
You're in a kind of an interesting situation because you have you've been in the industry for what, almost 40 years now.
Oh, come on! It's 35 years. What are you trying to do?
35, and you've also. I mean, you've written the Hacks.
Oh,
Handbook.
I'm sorry. That was so rude. I'm the person who should not be. This is the type of thing. I'm a performer of some type, and why is a performer? I can't now. Siri's going.
I think that's Twitter.
I think the number form of some type, and Siri says, I don't know what you're talking about. How do you shut your phone off? There's got to be a way. Okay.
I believe that was one of your Twitter followers checking in with you.
It was my wife, actually.
Oh, okay, there you go.
We're trying to schedule a procedure.
Right.
At a hospital thing.
Okay.
Don't feel bad. Like, if I'm gone 4 weeks from now, I don't want you to feel bad.
No, I don't want to feel bad. You check your phone. Check your phone as much as you need to.
He got so upset. Evan got upset because I joked about my mom passing away. It's, for some reason, it's very... My mom has Parkinson's, but she's doing good. But for some reason, there's nothing funnier to me. Like if someone says, I don't like your shirt, Andy, I go, well, my dad was buried in this shirt. My dad has passed away, and I like it. I like saying it. I like to joke. A joke about, and I actually did a joke in my act. I said, my father would have wanted me to do weak material about his passing. He took me aside once. He said, Andy, when this is all over, I hope you turn into another one of your bits that goes nowhere. And so, but when you lose a parent, then you are more likely to start joking. So when I was joking with Evan about it, I think it was like you're joking with a younger person who could lose their parents.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
So it's like a different place of their life.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they don't see the hilarity of my inappropriate joking. I mean, I wouldn't want some of the things to get back to my mother, but my mother's going to get the old shiv now. You know what I'm saying? She deserves it, and she's getting a little of the medicine that
she might be listening to, public broadcasting, Canadian public broadcasting.
She does.
You never know.
She's a big, I can't think of one Canadian show I was going to say. She's a big fan of
The Beachcombers. It's going back. So, I mean...
that is going back because I don't know what you meant.
Okay, well, that's...
Was it a show that was about beachcombing?
Yes, it was.
Was it a radio thing?
No, it was a television show.
That had to be television. Oh, it's beautiful over here. It's beautiful. Wish you could see it. Unbelievable.
So, I mean, we could keep on talking.
We could. And you would have to end... You would have to end the interview, and you would have to literally say, Andy, we're leaving. We have a thing.
Exactly.
The people come in late on Friday. It's not on Friday. Are we pretending we're live? It's live. And let's go to the phone. 65 degrees downtown, Calgary. Thank you. And should we plug it again? Come on out. I'll be on a sled. Coming on a sled all this weekend on an island. It's unbelievable that it's every year it's themed the same way.
It's been great having you on. Honestly.
Thanks.
Thank you.
I'm very happy. Well, not happy all the time, but you don't need to know all that. I'm happy, relatively happy.
In this moment.
In this moment, I'm happy.
Thanks, Andy.
Thank you.